and then there are some general questions. We'll start off with the first question.
Yes.
You mentioned the philosophy of Mullah Sadra and others who have identified two realms, that of Khalq and Amr. In reading the works of Mullah Sadr and others, we see the use of Alamul Mulk and Alamul Malakut. Are these synonymous with the realms of creation and command? The question continues, and I will read the whole question to leave then to you to decide how you want to answer it, if I may.
Sure.
What about the third realm that Mullah Sadr talks about, the Alam al-Jabarut? To which does this correspond? It was my original understanding that Mulk is the observed aspect of creation. Malakut is the hidden aspect of creation, the totality of creation as it relates to its creator. And Jabarut is even higher realm of command from which Mulk and Malakut issue. Can you confirm this view?
Yes. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The whole reality is divided into two realms. The realm of divinity or deity, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Lordship, and the realm of creation. So we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Khaliq, and then we have Khalq, creation. In creation, we have two realms, Khalq and Amr. Although both of them are in a sense Khalq, they are created, but even creatures are divided into two. Those whose creation would only depend on Allah's command, be, and then they are there. And those who, in addition to Allah's command, they need some conditions, some physical, worldly conditions to be met. They may need some preparatory causes, some what we call al-ilalul i'dadiyya or mu'idda. For example, you need for a child to have father, you have mother, air, food, many things. And this is why they are then created in a particular time, particular space. But those who only depend on Allah's command, they are always there, like mujarradat, abstract things. So, we have the realm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can call it Jabarut. We have then the realm of creation, which by itself is divided into two parts. Those creatures which are only dependent on command, and those which are dependent, in addition to command, on worldly conditions and requirements. Then we have another terminology, and that is the Mulk and Malakut. Mulk and Malakut can be related to Khalq and Amr, but mostly we use Mulk and Malakut for another purpose or from another perspective, and that is to refer to two sides of the same existence. For example, anything that exists in this dunya has another side, which is its malakuti side. Ibrahim alayhi salam prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma arani malakuta as-samawati wal-ard. وكذلك نري إبراهيم ملكوت السماوات والأرض. Samawat are samawat for us, but they have also a malakuti side which is facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whoever is able to have that vision from their malakuti aspect, they are all full of understanding and love. They do tasbih and hamd. They glorify Allah. They praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But from worldly side, we may call them animals, plants, non-living beings. We may consider them as lacking, life, lacking understanding. But from Mallicoat side, everything has understanding. So Mallicoat is very close to Alam Amr, but it's also for everything worldly that there is Mallicoat. So anything in this dunya also has its roots in Mallicoat or has its own presence in Mallicoat.
Thank you very much, Sheikh.
You're welcome.
I'll go to the next question now.
Yes.
Qada and Qadr Ilmi and Aini.
Mm-hmm.
Please, can you explain Qada wa Qadr Ilmi and Qada wa Qadr Aini?
Ilmi is about knowledge. So everything is measured and decided in knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also when they come to reality, they come to existence, they are also coming with measure and decree. So you may refer to Qada and Qadar as two stages of something coming to existence in the real world, in the external world, in the objective world. You may refer to two aspects of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge about something. As measure, it can be different avenues for something taking place, and Allah knows all of that. And then one of them would become final and decisive, and Allah knows that as well. These qada and qadar, when it comes to humans' voluntary actions, involve our own choice as well. But with our choice, at the end, things become final and decisive, and Allah knows what we are going to choose to do. And Allah also knows what are the options and avenues that we can choose to move in those options and what each of them would lead to. He knows all of that. Then we choose one, and then that would lead to a final result, final end.
The next question, Sheikh, is protection of the Quran versus other books. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not guarantee protection of previous scriptures while He guaranteed protection of the Quran?
There are two answers. First of all, because this is the last book, if previous books were not preserved, the problem could be solved by sending another book. But when the final message has been given, then it must remain, because if we lose this, we are not going to have anything else. We said this is the final. But the other answer, which completes this, is that actually Allah's guarantee of preservation of the Quran is not regardless of what people do, because people have reached that level of maturity and literacy and commitment to preservation of the scripture that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Quran is going to remain. So in other words, it's not that Allah preserved the Quran through miracles. If he wanted to preserve the Quran through miracles, he could have saved previous books also through miracles. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through our appreciation and commitment and determination for preserving our book, has promised us that this book is not going to be missed or lost. So this is like, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. But is this promise going to happen just by miracles? Or it's going to happen with people's determination, لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ, as we have in the other ayah. لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. So people should rise and try to establish social justice and equity. The same here. People should be preserving Quran, memorizing Quran, learning Quran, writing Quran. And this is the way that Rasulullah also planned. He commissioned some people, Kuttabul Wahy, to write down everything. Then there were many, initially tens, then hundreds of people who memorized the Quran. So everything possible was done to preserve this book. So it's not just by miracle.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It was very, very nice listening to that aspect of preservation of the Quran. The next question is Luth versus Tawfiq. Is Luth the same as Tawfiq?
Luth has many aspects. One of them is Tawfiq. Tawfiq can be considered as a lutf. If you mean by lutf favor, grace. So one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us is tawfiq. And that is to bring together all the things that we need for doing something good. For example, what do I need in order to be able to study? What do I need in order to go for Hajj, in order to go for Salatul Jama'ah, in order to go to meet my parents, in order to look after my family, in order to look after needy people? All the requirements, when they come together, the reason it is called tawfiq is because it's coming from wifaq. Wifaq means coming together. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings all the required conditions and causes together, that is tawfiq. We don't have ability to bring everything together. Yes, when things come together, we can benefit from, or we can try to bring things together. But there are many things that you cannot bring together. You don't have control. Can you bring security? Can you bring health? Can you bring teacher? Can you bring, I don't know, time? Many things are out of your control. All of a sudden, even if you have all this, a problem can happen. Or someone can do something silly and everything will be stopped. So we don't have the ability to bring everything together for doing a good thing. We need tawfiq. Hadith says, Al-mu'minu yahtaju ila thalath. Mu'min needs three things. One, tawfiqan min Allah. Tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To prepare things for you so that you can do what you want, or actually Allah prepare things in the way that you would decide to do even good things. You know, sometimes, for example, you want to go for ziyarah, for example, and then you will get tawfiq. Sometimes tawfiq is so overwhelming that actually that gives you the idea of going to ziyarah. Sometimes you were looking, for example, for a place for learning, and you need tawfiq. Something Allah is giving you so much tawfiq that puts in your mind the idea of learning and also gives you the facilities for learning. So even tawfiq can bring this idea to your mind. So we need tawfiq. And we need وَوَاعِظًا مِن نَفْسِهِ. We need to have a preacher inside us. Another hadith says, if someone doesn't have that preacher inside, preachers outside would not be beneficial. I should have someone inside me, my own conscience, that tells me do this or not to do. Otherwise, if people tell me and I don't have that preacher inside, I just ignore them. وَقَبُولًا مِمَّنْ يَنْصَحُهُ. And mu'min should accept when other people give him sincere advice. They wish him good and give him good advice. Mu'min should accept. So tawfiq in this hadith is one of the major things that a mu'min needs for his improvement. And lutf is, as I said, very general. Any good thing that we receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is lutf. And in kalam, of course, we have a technical definition. كل ما يقرب إلى الطاعة ويبعد عن المعصية ولا يبلغ حد الإلجاء ولا حظ له في التمكين فهو لطف. Anything that is not a condition for being able to do your wajib or to move towards perfection, it's not a condition. If it was condition, it's not lutf, it's necessity. It's not a condition, and it's not also forcing you, but it still helps you, brings you closer to obedience or takes you away from disobedience. So it's a kind of additional support. Technically, this is lutf, and this is also necessary. But lutf can be used in its literal sense, and it's very general. Any favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, any grace from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Sure, we have about 5 minutes to go, and I wanted to touch upon one maybe general question. I hope it's not too long for you as well as for all the participants. We have, last time Brother Jihad started the process where we said we will try to talk about some course-related questions and then some general questions. I will just take the first question from general questions now. Igniting understanding of God in atheists. The Chinese community was for years suppressed into atheism. Many have now questioned atheism, but their first alternative seems to be Buddhism. What factors for a community such as this can ignite a desire to understand God in the Islamic way?
Many people, they have realized that without faith, they lack. And having only material means is not giving them satisfaction. It can give them immediate gratification, but not real satisfaction and tranquility and peace. So they look for a solution. But unfortunately, some people think that just spirituality would be enough. It is useful to have attention to the spiritual side of human beings, but without God and without faith in God, this spirituality is very superficial. Still, it's good. Still, it's much better than just getting pleasure from eating and drinking and having, I don't know, for example, comfortable life. Still, this pleasure that you get from spirituality is more. But it's not enough. Some people, because they are afraid of systematic religions, either because of propaganda or they had some bad experiences with some people, or they don't want to commit themselves wholeheartedly to any establishment or any religion. They want to keep their options open. So they say, okay, we want to be spiritual but not religious. or this is our religion. If you want to call it a religion, this is our religion. It's just a spirituality without having any structured, any established, any systematic religion. This is not sufficient. Human beings without connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot survive. And if you have this connection but you don't acknowledge it, you may physically survive, but you would not be spiritually functioning to the maximum of your capacity. You are denying yourself from high levels of progress if you don't acknowledge your dependence on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and don't open up yourself for receiving grace from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think what can help a lot is if these people can see a spiritual people among religious people. If they only see Muslims and Christians or Jews who are just doing the rituals, they are good people, for example, but not very spiritual, then they may not be motivated to try religious spirituality. But if they can see how religion has helped some people in every aspect, especially has made them very, very tranquil and very much enlightened and very much charismatic, then they would also be interested in trying.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think because of the time now, and we have nearly close to the closing time, would you like to now go to introductions, depending on how much time you can spare with us? We have about 33, 34 participants today.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Yeah.
So we can start off and see how far we can go with this. Also, at this stage, Sheikh, I would like to acknowledge the number of people who help us with work behind the scenes, the transcribing, the organizing, and everything else.